Tropical fruit has been growing in South Florida for more than 100 years. The state's warm climate makes it ideal for fruits like carambolas, mangoes, and lychees. Charlie Laub is a second-generation Florida farmer.
I came down here in 1967 and started to work for one of the major lime and avocado packers, and we handled a few tropicals, but not many at the time. The avocado industry was struggling a little bit with overproduction versus demand, and there was a lot of us were looking for alternatives that might produce more revenue for our acreage. And then we started raising tropicals in '82, '83, lychees and carambolas.
As the number of Asian immigrants began to move to South Florida, so did the demand for lychee, a fruit native to China.
As we started raising them, then we started distributing them to a lot of the Asian communities and expanded from there.
Farm owner Joan Green moved here from Detroit nearly 3 decades ago.
And you have to look inside of it to see the fruit, which are very interesting looking. Way inside, you can see these green fruits that kind of look like an ear of corn. Let me show you what it looks like on the inside. I have some sitting here, a few that already are ready. These outside green sort of hexagon things fall off. And on the inside, you see there's a sort of a creamy white yellow flesh.
Some tropical plants produce only 3 to 4 fruits at a time. That is why farmers are forced to grow more than one type of fruit-bearing tree on their land.
You can see the little fruits and the big fruits.
What we've seen is a lot of the acreage here is gone, that was in like vegetables has gone out. There's been more tropicals and planted, and that acreage has picked up considerably over the last few years. But now we're to the point where that's a product now that we need to increase the demand to keep it going.
In 1988, a group of farmers came together to form the Tropical Group Growers of South Florida, a corporation of packers and growers dedicated to expanding the market for tropical fruit.
We have to experiment a lot, and we share a lot of information back and forth, what works and what doesn't work to grow a better product, produce more per acre, and stuff like that.
In 2002, the state of Florida awarded the group a grant for horticultural research and marketing.
And we've been using that to promote in-store demonstrations, PR work, working with chefs, any way we can to get more of our product, our name, and the taste of the product out to the public. One major step towards bringing awareness to the tropical fruits has been their addition to local menus by top chefs. At the Tides Hotel in Miami Beach, executive chef Chris Tapper likes to add lychee nuts to some of his signature dishes.
For this preparation that we're doing today with the foie gras, ordinarily I would use something along the lines of maybe a roasted fig or a candied cherry instead of the lychees. But I find that the lychees actually substitute better. Really just give it that very fresh, here in South Florida flavor.
We're really just, in the infant stage of this, but we're getting involved with more and more chefs. People are eating out oftener, and people are copying what a chef does. And they're looking for his recipes, or they're out and they're in a restaurant and they have a carambola or they have a lychee, and they go, that was pretty good. And so then they go back and look to do it themselves and look for their grocery store to handle it.
Then this sauce is a demi-glace that we make here. And I've taken all the trimmings from the fruit.
What it does is it gets our product out to more of the public.
And one of the things that I do is I trade mangoes for dinners, and so I've got all sorts of wonderful mangoes coming in to the restaurant, lots of different varieties of mangoes, and that to me is where I get my inspiration from.
Alan Susser, one of the hottest chefs in Florida, has been using mangoes in his recipes for over 20 years.
This is wonderful for summer, just real light and refreshing, and that's what I love about matching this with the mangoes, because the mangoes bring out this flavor in that salad.
Recently, Rogers Restaurant was the setting for a tropical fruit competition. 19 of South Florida's top bartenders competed before a panel of judges. The object was to see who could be the most creative.
The guava cheesecake martini with a graham cracker and brown sugar crust, poached guava, mainly for decoration.
The event gave the public a chance to taste some exotic drinks. It also gave chefs and growers an opportunity to educate consumers on some of the rare fruits being grown in our area.
In any case, I want to go through some of the fruits that they're using today.
For local tropical fruit growers, keeping the cost of distribution lower than that of foreign imports will be critical to their success.
The key will be how much comes from offshore and how cheap it comes in here. That can we keep competing? And I think that's our biggest question, and it's an unanswered question. Only the future is going to tell it as to whether we're going to be able to compete. We hope, in many cases, to try and put a better product out there so that the people, if they see something that's not Florida, they're going to ask for Florida. And that's what our hope is.